New Jersey. Small on the map, endlessly misunderstood in conversation. Most people reduce it to highways, beach towns, or pop culture references, but that surface view misses almost everything that actually defines the state. New Jersey sits at the crossroads of ancient oceans, volcanic fire, moving ice, and modern cities built on land that never truly stop changing. Forests hide underground water systems, rivers shaped wars and industries. Barrier islands shift while people build on top of them anyway. This is a place where deep geology and daily life collide constantly. What follows are 50 geography facts about New Jersey that uncover how much complexity is packed into this narrow stretch of land. 50. Ellis Island belongs to New Jersey. Most people associate Ellis Island with New York, but legally most of it belongs to New Jersey. In 1998, the United States Supreme Court ruled that roughly 90% of the island falls within New Jersey's borders. That means millions of immigrants arriving in America technically stepped into New Jersey first. It's a quiet geographic twist that reshapes how the state fits into the nation's immigration story, even if popular culture rarely acknowledges it. 49th, the densest state in America. New Jersey holds more people per square mile than any other state in the country, with over 9 million residents packed into less than 8,000 square miles. Towns blend into cities and suburbs stretch endlessly. This density shapes daily life, from constant traffic to tightly packed neighborhoods. Geography leaves little room to spread out, creating a state where movement, development, and culture feel compressed into a small but intensely active space. 48. Every county is officially urban. New Jersey is the only state where all 21 counties are officially classified as urban. Even places that appear rural, including farmland and large forested areas, fall within metropolitan regions. Roads, utilities, and population centers connect nearly every corner of the state. This designation reflects how tightly developed the land is and explains why true isolation is rare, even in areas that feel quiet or undeveloped. 47. Dinosaurs were discovered here. In 1858, New Jersey became world famous in scientific circles when a nearly complete dinosaur skeleton was discovered in Haddonfield. Known as Hadrosaurus, the find helped prove that dinosaurs were real animals, not mythical creatures. The discovery placed New Jersey at the center of early paleontology and revealed that the land once supported massive prehistoric life, long before suburbs, highways, or cities covered the region. 46. New Jersey had a volcano. It sounds unbelievable, but New Jersey was once home to volcanic activity. Rutan Hill, also called the Beamerville volcano, last erupted hundreds of millions of years ago. Today it looks like an ordinary hill, but beneath the surface lies evidence of intense geological forces. This ancient volcano formed during early continental collisions, reminding us that the calm landscape once experienced fire, pressure, and dramatic transformation. 45. The Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens. The Pine Barrens are known not just for their ecology, but for legend. For centuries, stories of the Jersey Devil have circulated through this isolated forest. Sparse population, winding trails, and vast stretches of silence helped fuel the myth. While science explains the region's strange appearance through sandy soil and stunted growth, the folklore remains deeply tied to the land, blending geography with imagination. Generations passed these stories down through families and local communities. The forest isolation allowed rumor and mystery to survive, turning landscape into legend and making the Pine Barrens as culturally famous as they are geographically unique. 44. Ghost towns hidden in the Pine Barrens. Scattered throughout the Pine Barrens are abandoned towns once built around ironworks, glassmaking, and charcoal production. When industries collapsed, entire communities disappeared into the forest. Nature reclaimed buildings, roads, and foundations, leaving only fragments behind. These ghost towns reveal how geography supported early industry, then quietly erased it when resources were exhausted and people moved on. Dense forest growth swallowed structures over time. Today, moss-covered ruins and sunken foundations remain hidden along trails, showing how quickly human settlement can vanish when geography stops supporting it. 43. Ong's Hat remains a modern mystery. Deep in the Pine Barrens lies Ong's Hat, a former settlement that no longer exists physically but lives on through legend. Stories claim it was the site of secret experiments or even portals to other dimensions. While no evidence supports these ideas, the isolation of the landscape helped fuel speculation. Geography created the perfect setting for myth, where emptiness invites imagination to fill the gaps. Few landmarks and limited records allowed rumors to grow unchecked. The forest's quiet atmosphere continues to attract curiosity. city, keeping Ong's hat alive through storytelling rather than physical remains. 42. High Point and sea level sit surprisingly close. New Jersey's highest elevation, High Point in Sussex County, rises just 1,803 feet above sea level, yet within a short drive, you can reach the Atlantic Ocean at sea level. This dramatic change over a small distance highlights how compressed the state's geography is. Mountains, forests, wetlands, and beaches exist unusually close together, shaping travel, weather, and daily experience. This proximity allows rapid climate shifts across short distances. Snow can fall in the north while beach conditions remain mild, showing how elevation and distance interact tightly across the state. 41. The Palisades rise like a stone wall. Along the Hudson River, sheer basalt cliffs known as the Palisades rise abruptly from the water. Formed by ancient volcanic activity, these towering walls create one of the most striking natural borders in the region. Their vertical columns frame views of New York City and remind residents that dramatic geology exists right beside one of the most developed urban areas in the world. The cliffs influence settlement, transportation, and defense. Their resistance to erosion preserved their sharp form, making the Palisades a lasting geological landmark, shaping both scenery and regional identity. 40. The Great Falls of Paterson shaped an industrial city. Right in the heart of Paterson, the Great Falls of the Passaic River drop 77 feet in a powerful cascade. This waterfall was the reason the city existed at all. In the late 1700s, Alexander Hamilton saw its potential and planned America's first industrial city around it. The steady force of the water-powered mills and factories, turning geography into industry and helping launch the nation's manufacturing era. 39. The Delaware Water Gap cuts through mountains. The Delaware Water Gap is one of New Jersey's most dramatic natural landmarks. Here, the Delaware River slices directly through the Appalachian Mountains, creating a wide scenic gorge. Rather than being redirected by rising terrain, the river held its course over millions of years. Today, the gap is a place where geology and scenery meet, drawing hikers, kayakers, and visitors who rarely expect such scale in New Jersey. The steep cliffs reveal layered rock exposed by erosion. Forests and trails follow the river's path, showing how water slowly shaped solid stone. 38. Atlantic City built the first boardwalk. Atlantic City created the world's first boardwalk in 1870, long before beach tourism became widespread. It was originally built to keep sand out of seaside hotels, not for entertainment. Over time, it became a symbol of leisure, stretching nearly 6 miles along the shore. The boardwalk transformed how Americans interacted with beaches and helped define the Jersey Shore's cultural identity. Shops, amusements, and crowds followed the wooden path. Geography turned a practical solution into a lasting cultural landmark tied to oceanfront life. 37. Retro Wildwood froze the 1950s in place. Wildwood is famous for its colorful doo-wop motels, built during the boom of post-war car travel. Neon signs, sharp angles, and futuristic designs still line the streets today. These buildings reflect a moment when the Jersey Shore was designed for road trips and optimism. Geography placed Wildwood at the edge of the ocean. Culture filled it with bold architectural personality. Wide streets and open lots accommodated cars and crowds. The landscape helped preserve a style that elsewhere disappeared with time. 36. The world's tallest water sphere stands in Union. In Union, New Jersey, a massive spherical water tower rises 212 feet above the ground. Known as the Union Water Sphere, it is the tallest of its kind in the world. Built to store drinking water, it became an unexpected landmark. The structure reflects how infrastructure and geography intersect, turning a functional necessity into a symbol visible for miles. Its elevated position uses gravity to maintain water pressure. What began as utility now defines the skyline and local identity. 35. Sandy Hook guards the entrance to New York Harbor. Sandy Hook is a narrow stretch of land reaching into the Atlantic Ocean at the northern end of the Jersey Shore. For centuries, it has served as a strategic and navigational point protecting New York Harbor. Shaped by shifting sand and strong currents, the land constantly changes form. Its geography made it vital for defense, shipping, and maritime safety. Lighthouses, forts, and navigation aids were placed here because ships had to pass this point to reach the harbor. Even today, the peninsula's position continues to influence shipping routes and coastal conditions. 34. Cape May became America's first resort town. Cape May holds the title of the oldest seaside resort in the United States. As early as the 1700s, visitors traveled there to escape summer heat. Its location between the Atlantic Ocean and Delaware Bay created cooling breezes and scenic beaches. Victorian homes still line the streets, preserving a time when geography and leisure combined to create a new kind of American vacation. The town's isolation location at the southern tip of the state added to its appeal. Easy access by water helped establish Cape May as a destination long before modern highways existed. 33. Liberty State Park frames a national symbol. Liberty State Park offers one of the most iconic views in the country, overlooking the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and Manhattan. Once an industrial waterfront, the land was reclaimed and transformed into open space. Geography places the park at a meeting point of river, harbor, and skyline, turning former rail yards into a public window onto American history. Ferries, ships, and tidal currents pass just offshore. The park's location connects immigration history, urban growth, and natural shoreline in a single uninterrupted landscape. 32. The Garden State Parkway moves the entire state. Stretching 172 miles, the Garden State Parkway runs nearly the full length of New Jersey. It carries hundreds of thousands of vehicles daily, acting like a river of traffic. The road follows natural corridors through flat coastal plains and rolling hills. Geography dictated its path, making it one of the busiest and most essential highways in the nation. The parkway links shore towns, suburbs, and cities into a single network. Seasonal traffic patterns mirror tourism and migration within the state, revealing how movement follows land. 31st, New Jersey's coastline is short but famous. New Jersey's coastline measures only about 130 miles, but it is packed with well-known beach towns. Places like Wildwood, Seaside Heights, and Asbury Park sit tightly along the shore. Barrier islands and sandy beaches define the landscape. Despite its length, the coast plays an outsized role in tourism, culture, and the identity of the entire state. Ocean currents continually reshape beaches and dunes. This constant motion forces towns to adapt while preserving traditions tied to boardwalks, beaches, and summer life. 30. The Pine Barrens cover a massive hidden wilderness. The Pine Barrens stretch across more than 1 million acres of southern New Jersey, forming one of the largest protected forests on the East Coast. Despite sitting between major cities, the region feels isolated and untouched. Sandy soil, winding trails, and quiet wetlands define the landscape. Geography limited farming and dense development, allowing forests to dominate. This isolation shaped local culture, folklore, and industries, creating a place that feels far removed from the surrounding urban world. Underneath the forest lies a vast aquifer supplying drinking water. The land protects what cannot be seen, making preservation essential. 29. The Pine Barrens support a strange and fragile ecology. The soil of the Pine Barrens is sandy, acidic, and low in nutrients, conditions most plants cannot tolerate. Yet certain species thrive here, including rare orchids and carnivorous plants like the pitcher plant. Fire plays a natural role, clearing undergrowth and renewing the forest. Geography dictates survival in this ecosystem, producing a landscape that looks sparse but supports life found almost nowhere else in the region. 28. New Jersey has more horses than people expect. Despite its dense population, New Jersey has more horses per square mile than any other state. Rolling farmland, preserved open space, and equestrian traditions keep horse culture alive. Stables, riding trails, and training grounds exist alongside highways and suburbs. Geography allows rural pockets to survive within urban corridors, creating a state where horseback riding and city life coexist closer than most people imagine. 27. Diners became a cultural landmark. New Jersey is often called the diner capital of the world, with hundreds of diners spread across the state. Their popularity grew from the state's position between major cities and along busy highways. Diners served travelers, truck drivers, and commuters at all hours. Geography made New Jersey a place people passed through, and diners became reliable landmarks offering familiarity, food, and rest along the way. 26. The Delaware Bay once fed a nation. In the 19th century, the Delaware Bay produced enormous quantities of oysters, supplying nearly half of the country's demand. Shallow waters and nutrient-rich conditions made the bay ideal for shellfish. Entire communities formed around harvesting and shipping oysters. Geography supported an industry that shaped local culture, even after overfishing and pollution reduced stocks to a fraction of their former abundance. 25. Horseshoe crabs and shorebirds depend on timing. Each spring, horseshoe crabs gather along the Delaware Bay to lay eggs on sandy beaches. At the same time, migrating shorebirds arrive from South America, relying on those eggs for survival. This precise timing makes the bay one of the most important stopovers in the world. Geography created a narrow window where ocean, land, and migration intersect with remarkable precision. If either species arrives too early or too late, the system fails. This fragile balance ties global migration patterns to a single stretch stretch of New Jersey coastline, making the bay critical far beyond state borders. 24. Newark Liberty Airport grew from open marshland. Newark Liberty International Airport sits on land that was once tidal marsh. Its flat terrain and proximity to waterways made it ideal for early aviation. Opened in 1928, it became one of America's first major airports. Geography placed it at the center of regional travel, where air routes, rivers, and rail lines converged into a transportation hub that still shapes the region. The surrounding wetlands were filled and reshaped to support runways and terminals. What was once marsh now moves millions of people each year, showing how geography enabled large-scale infrastructure. 23. The Meadowlands balance industry and wildlife. The Meadowlands sit just west of New York City, combining highways, warehouses, and stadiums with vast wetlands. Despite heavy development, the area supports hundreds of bird species and important habitats. Flat land and tidal influence define the landscape. Geography forced industry and nature into close proximity, creating a rare place where ecosystems survive alongside dense infrastructure. Floodplains limited construction in some areas, preserving wetlands by necessity. These natural spaces now provide flood control and habitat, quietly supporting the region while surrounded by constant human activity. 22nd, bird migration funnels through the Meadowlands. The Meadowlands lie directly along a major migratory path for birds traveling the Atlantic Flyway. Wetlands provide food and rest during long journeys. Geography compresses migration routes into narrow corridors, making these marshes unusually active during seasonal movement. Even surrounded by urban development, the land continues to serve its ancient role as a resting ground for traveling wildlife. Thousands of birds can appear overnight during peak migration. The landscape functions as a natural refueling station, proving that geography can preserve ancient patterns even in modern urban environments. 21. Palmyra Cove hides along the Delaware River. Palmyra Cove Nature Park sits quietly along the Delaware River near Philadelphia. Wetlands, forests, and trails occupy land once used for industry and shipping. Geography placed the park at the meeting point of river and city, allowing nature to reclaim former working land. Today, it attracts birds and visitors alike, showing how landscapes can shift roles without changing location. Tidal flows still shape the shoreline, while restored habitats support wildlife. The park reflects how geography can guide renewal, turning industrial ground back into ecological and cultural space. 20. Two rivers define the state's borders. New Jersey's geography is shaped by two powerful rivers. The Delaware River forms the entire western boundary, while the Hudson River frames the northeastern edge. These waterways influenced settlement, trade, and political borders long before highways existed. Towns grew along their banks, ferries connected communities, and commerce flowed through them. Geography turned these rivers into natural borders that still define the state's shape, identity, and relationship with its neighbors today. 19. The Delaware and Raritan Canal changed transportation. The Delaware and Raritan Canal once cut across New Jersey, carrying coal and goods between major rivers. Built in the 19th century, it shortened travel time and boosted industry. Though commercial use faded, the canal's route remains etched into the land. Geography guided its construction through low terrain, and today the same corridor serves as a park and trail system following the original path. 18. New Jersey became a revolutionary crossroads. More battles of the American Revolutionary War were fought in New Jersey than in any other state. Its location between New York and Philadelphia made it strategically vital. Armies crossed rivers, marched through valleys, and fought on open fields shaped by geography. Hills, waterways, and roads influenced troop movement and outcomes. The land itself played a quiet role in shaping the nation's fight for independence. 17. Princeton battlefield changed the war's momentum. In early 1777, George Washington led troops to victory at Princeton, striking a critical blow against British forces. The battlefield's open terrain allowed surprise and movement. Geography mattered, offering routes of approach and escape. Today, the preserved landscape reflects how fields and gentle slopes once carried enormous historical weight during a moment that helped shift the course of the war. 16. The Highlands supplied drinking water. Northern New Jersey's Highlands region is more than rolling hills and forests. It supplies drinking water to over half the state's population. Rainfall collects in reservoirs and underground formations shaped by ancient rock. Geography turned this elevated terrain into a natural water source. Protecting the land became essential, linking geology directly to daily life for millions of residents. 15. Princeton's campus reflects old world design. Princeton University's campus feels European in style, with ivy-covered stone buildings and Gothic architecture. Founded in 1746, its layout was shaped by gentle terrain and open space. Geography allowed the campus to expand organically, blending academic buildings with lawns and walkways. The land helped create an atmosphere that feels historic, scholarly, and distinct within New Jersey's dense surroundings. Paths curved naturally rather than following strict grids. Open greens and mature trees soften the architecture, creating a sense of separation from surrounding towns while still remaining physically connected to them. 14. Delaware River towns grew from crossings. Towns along the Delaware River developed where bridges and ferries once crossed the water. Places like Lambertville grew as trade and travel points. Geography made these crossings essential, concentrating people, commerce, and culture in small areas. Today, these towns retain their charm, shaped by narrow streets, river views, and a history tied directly to movement across water. Riverbanks determined street placement and building density. Even now, festivals, shops, and daily life cluster near the water, reflecting how geography still organizes social and economic activity. 13. Newark Bay became a shipping gateway. Newark Bay connects the Passaic and Hackensack rivers with New York Harbor. Its location made it a natural hub for shipping and industry. Tides push water inland, while river flow moves outward, creating constant motion. Geography placed the bay at a crossroads of transport, turning surrounding land into one of the most important industrial and shipping regions on the East Coast. Ports, rail yards, and factories clustered along its edges. Even today, cargo traffic and infrastructure reflect the bay's strategic position between inland rivers and the open Atlantic. 12. The Jersey Shore draws millions each year. Beaches along the Jersey Shore attract visitors from across the Northeast every summer. Barrier islands, boardwalks, and wide beaches define the coastline. Geography shaped these sandy stretches through shifting currents and storms. Towns rose along accessible shorelines, turning natural landforms into cultural destinations tied closely to recreation, tourism, and seasonal tradition. Summer populations often dwarf year-round residents. The coast's geography supports an economy built around timing, weather, and movement, reinforcing the shore's role as a shared regional escape. 11. Barrier islands both protect and endanger the coast. New Jersey's barrier islands absorb storm energy from the Atlantic, protecting the mainland behind them. At the same time, their low elevation makes them vulnerable to erosion and flooding. Geography created land that moves and reshapes itself constantly. These islands offer beauty and protection, but they also remind residents that coastal living comes with ongoing natural risk. 10. Barnegat Bay is a shallow, hidden estuary. Barnegat Bay stretches quietly behind the barrier islands of the Jersey Shore. Unlike the open ocean, it is shallow, calm, and rich with life. Salt marshes, seagrass beds, and tidal creeks support crabs, clams, and young fish. Geography shields the bay from strong Atlantic waves, creating a protected nursery for marine species. Communities grew along its edges, shaped by boating, fishing, and a close relationship with the water. 9. Long Beach Island exists because of moving sand. Long Beach Island is an 18-mile barrier island formed entirely by shifting sand. Ocean currents and storms constantly reshape its beaches and dunes. Geography made it narrow, low, and vulnerable, yet deeply loved. Lighthouses, beach towns, and summer crowds depend on land that never stays still. The island survives through constant rebuilding, showing how human culture adapts to landscapes designed for movement, not permanence. 8. Tiny islands dot the Delaware River. Scattered along the Delaware River are small islands, many uninhabited and barely noticed. Some once held farms, forts, or ferry stops, while others were never settled at all. Geography isolated them as the river shifted channels and flooded seasonally. Today, many serve as wildlife refugees, quiet reminders that even narrow rivers can create pockets of land shaped by water and time. 7. The Watchung Mountains came from fire. The Watchung Mountains, stretching across northern New Jersey, were formed by lava flows millions of years ago. Rather than rising through collision, these ridges emerged when molten rock cooled into hard basalt. Over time, surrounding softer rock eroded away. Geography left behind curved ridgelines that now influence roads, towns, and weather patterns, hiding a volcanic origin beneath suburban landscapes. The ridges shape drainage, wind flow, and travel routes across the region. region. Neighborhoods and highways bend around their slopes, reflecting how ancient fire still guides modern development. 6. A massive aquifer lies beneath the Pine Barrens. Under the Pine Barrens sits one of the largest freshwater aquifers on the East Coast. Rainwater filters through deep sand layers, naturally purifying the supply. Geography turned the forest into a giant underground reservoir that provides drinking water to millions. The same soil that limits farming protects water quality, tying the region's sparse surface development directly to its importance below ground. Wetlands and streams are fed by slow groundwater movement. Protecting the forest safeguards both visible ecosystems and the hidden water systems beneath them. 5. Ancient coral reefs lie beneath forests. Long before trees covered New Jersey, warm tropical seas filled the region. Coral reefs formed beneath shallow water, later hardening into limestone. As oceans retreated, forests grew above former seafloors. Geography preserved these fossils inland, far from modern coastlines. The land quietly records dramatic climate shifts, showing how environments can completely reverse over geological time. Reef structures now appear as rock layers and fossils. Their presence reveals how far the region has traveled through Earth's changing climates and conditions. 4. Seas repeatedly advanced and retreated here. New Jersey was submerged beneath rising seas multiple times over millions of years. Each advance deposited sand, shells, and marine sediment far inland. As waters receded, new landscapes formed. Geography layered these cycles into the ground itself. Today, fossils and ancient shorelines appear miles from the coast, revealing how temporary modern geography truly is. These layers influence soil, drainage, and land stability. The ground beneath towns and forests carries the memory of oceans that no longer exist. 3. Wetlands survive alongside heavy development. And despite intense urbanization, New Jersey still contains vast wetland systems. Marshes in places like the Meadowlands and Pine Barrens filter water, absorb floods, and support wildlife. Geography preserved these low-lying areas where building proved difficult. Even surrounded by highways and industry, wetlands continue performing essential natural functions that protect communities without drawing much attention. They reduce flood peaks during storms and improve water quality. Their quiet presence balances development with natural resilience across the state. 2. New Jersey drains into two major watersheds. Rain falling in New Jersey can travel in very different directions. Some water flows east toward the Hudson River and the Atlantic Ocean, while other streams drain south into the Delaware River and Delaware Bay. Slight changes in elevation determine the outcome. Geography places the state at a hydrological crossroads, quietly connecting it to distant ecosystems and regions. A single rainfall can split into separate journeys ending hundreds of miles apart. This divide influences water management, conservation, and regional planning, showing how subtle terrain differences control the movement of entire river systems across the state. 1. New Jersey's geography is far more complex than it looks. At first glance, New Jersey seems small and ordinary. Beneath that surface lies volcanic rock, ancient reefs, shifting barrier islands, hidden aquifers, and landscapes shaped by ice and sea. Geography packed immense variation into a tight space. The state's true character comes from density, layers, and constant change, making it one of the most geographically surprising places in the country. Urban centers sit beside fragile ecosystems, and modern life rests on ancient terrain. Every road, river, and shoreline reflects deep forces that continue shaping New Jersey today. That's the story beneath the surface. 50 geography facts that show New Jersey as more than a shortcut between major cities. It's a state shaped by collision, erosion, movement, and adaptation. From landscapes that quietly protect millions of people to coastlines that refuse to stay still, New Jersey keeps rewriting itself. If one of these facts caught you off guard, let us know in the comments. And if there's another corner of the state with a story worth telling, share it below. There's another video on screen now if you want to keep exploring how geography shapes the places we think we already know.